最新版 Cascadeur 2025版本无限使用和破解方法。首先我们看一下 Help 里，点击 About， 看一下里面的版本信息。这里版本提示是2025版， License 是 Basic。 好，我们关闭窗口，尝试在 File 里进行一个导出 FBX 格式文件，选择导出。软件提示我们，你是一个免费的版本，必须要升级才能导出 FBX 格式文件。好，我们擦掉这些窗口，找到我们的破解文件，将激活文件进行一个复制，右键 Cascadeur 的图标，选择打开文件所在位置，将破解文件进行一个粘贴，然后我们右键管理员身份运行，点击 Patch。当我们看到 Finish 的这个时候，我们的软件破解完成。
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and the world of AI and the world of professional game artists doesn't always get along that great, but today we're talking about an example that does it right. This is a program that uses machine learning to make the artist's life better, and it is called Cascadeur. And we're talking about Cascadeur today because the end of last week, Cascadeur 2025, the first release was just made, and to be honest, it adds one of the single most impressive features I have ever seen in an application like this. But first, let's go take a look at what Cascadeur is all about. Now, this comes with a number of different demos that kind of showcase what it is capable of. Let me just show you a quick backflip here. And this is the kind of things that it can do. So here you can see straightforward, this guy in the world, and then he lands on this post. And what it's using is machine learning to do a number of these calculations. It is a very, very powerful tool in that regard. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more about how that actually works. Very simple example. So let's go ahead and open up another one of the examples. So we'll just open up Cascadeur, one of the characters that comes with it. By the way, with this new version, one of the things they improved is you now have GLB import. So if you want to bring your model in from, say, Blender, you can do so now, which is a nice new feature here. So here we go. This is the model in the world, and it gives you an idea of exactly what this tool is all about. Let's go into auto pose mode, which I was actually already in already, and you can basically just grab a control point and pose. Now, the thing that's going on here is as I am making my change, though, machine learning is automatically posing the other aspects in this scene. So it makes animation, it's still the artist driving things, but it makes the secondary animation so much easier by using machine learning. So you see, I am just moving this one control point, and it's extrapolating what everything else should do. So if I go here and go to that ground, you can see it hits the ground and then it flattens accordingly. This is all by moving one single control point. Same thing with the head. I could grab the head and we can just move it around accordingly, or then I could grab the neck and you see we got this whole crouching going on. It's pretty amazing. So it's still all of the powers of traditional animation. It's just, again, using machine learning to do the secondary animations, and it makes the process of animating just so much more pleasant. And there's a lot of things that have been built into it recently. So they've got animation unbaking, so you can take motion capture and turn it into a workable number of keyframes instead of, a lot of times when you're working with motion capture, it is a friggin' nightmare. But you can get an idea from this auto posing features, how much time this could save an artist. Again, not perfect. So again, there you can see that arm is doing something that arm should really not be doing. But for the most part, this is a tool that uses AI to make the artist's life better. Now, what we've got in this new release, this, again, is one of the most impressive features I have ever seen. So we're going to bring back our character here. So we'll bring Cascadeur back into the world like so. So here is her, I think it's a her. And then we're going to go here into point mode. I'm going to Alt and rotate over here. And we're going to basically do a Control A. So grab all of the control points, and then we're going to go over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this timeline down from 100 keyframes let's go to 50. So 50 keyframe animation. So here is our first keyframe. You see down here, I'll just hit F and create a keyframe right there. And then what I'm going to do is go to point number 50 over here, and I'm gonna hit F to create a keyframe there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna move it over here to there. So now what we've got is these two keyframes. So if I go here, first keyframe, and then second keyframe. Very straightforward, quite simple. And this is where the magic kicks in. So what I can now do is go Shift and select all of these keyframes. So here, and then Shift select. So there, if we got both keyframes selected like so, and we now have this magical new button. And it's right here. This is your in-betweening button. In-betweening basically means making up in between two keyframes. So let's go ahead and hit that, and then boom. See what it just did? It just in betweened all of those frames. So it made animation frames in between. So you set up the key poses that you wish. So keyframing does this normally, and generally what it's just doing is, it's slowly lerping between two positions. This is using machine learning to fill that space in, and let's look at what it created. Yeah, it just created a walk cycle by having these two particular frames. Now that's, maybe not, it might be a little bit on the too simple side. So let's go ahead instead. Let's go to the midpoint here and let's change things up a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna switch this back to auto pose mode. I'm gonna hit F to insert a keyframe here. And now I'm gonna go ahead and, moves on current frame is different from the auto prediction. Yes. All right, so here, let's move this. So we're gonna do something really weird with our character in the midst of this. So we're gonna slump like so, and let's just kick our leg up like this. So yeah, that is a very strange thing to be doing in the midst of all this. So now let's just go ahead, grab here to here, like so, and let's do an update. And there you see it now updated, and it's taking that keyframe, that extra keyframe we did in the middle, and it's using logic to do as much as it can. So again, our middle frame that we did, it's got to somehow work that pose into the rest of this. And let's see what it does. So let's go ahead and then boom. So that, it's going to be such a massive time saver. So basically, it is an interpolation using machine learning between keyframes you create. And now, obviously, it's going to look a lot better if you don't do something idiotic in the middle, but you can see just the power of this tool. And I hope you can understand why I'm so excited about the idea behind Cascadeur, because number one, I hate animation. I don't really enjoy doing it because I really don't like the finicky stuff. I don't like the secondary bits. And that this tool, this is a tool that just makes that an easier, better process, in my opinion. It takes care of a lot of the annoyances, the things that I find frustrating, and it just, again, it makes up for my lack of skill, I guess you could say. No, not completely. The end result for me working with Cascadeur is still going to look awful, but it's going to look way, way less awful than it would if I did not use this tool as an example. So if you're interested in checking out Cascadeur, it is available at Cascadeur.com. There is a free version available. We've also got a couple of different licenses. We'll look at that in just a second. And this, again, it's a straight animation tool. It just, again, uses artificial intelligence in a way that works with the artist as opposed to, trying to replace the artist. As you see, even down to finger control, you've got physics support in here, secondary motion, you got mocap, so you can actually use a video to do it instead of using motion capture for that, retargeting, and so much more. So there is a ton of functionality being cooked into this program and more every day. So if you're interested, you head on over to Cascadeur.com. The cool thing is it is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, which I did that in the wrong order. So I guess that'd be Windows, Linux, and Mac. It's, again, available in a free version. In terms of the 2025.1 release, there is quite a bit that was added here. So you got in-betweening, which I showed earlier on. We got physics slider corrections, ragdoll interactions between two different characters. So that when they hit each other, those interactions are part of the calculation. Ragdoll interactions with props, so you could have swords and weapons and so on. Added context menu for viewport, new hub window design, external viewports can be split into 2 or 4 sections, and so on. Other big ones we've got here, again, if you're using Blender or an ecosystem like say Godot, where it uses GLB or prefers GLB, you now have GLB support here. They've also improved FBX support in this. They also have FBX model pose import and export support here. Unbaking, which was added in the last release, which I told you about, where you can take, if you have keyframe data, which tends like if you have 300 frames of keyframe data, you tend to have like 300 keyframes worth of frames. This can actually make it so that turns it down quite a bit, so you can still edit motion capture data. So we've got some improvements to that. And then we've got enhanced auto posing tools and more. Plus, they also added a Roblox character to the sample scenes. So that is what is new in Cascadeur 2025.1. So if you're interested in checking it out, again, it is available for free. The limitations are you can export to Cask format only, so you can't get it out in FBX or DAE, or I think GLB now with this update, and you can't use it commercially. But this gives you full functioning, so you can get an idea if the program is right for you. Theoretically, you could also export your results out to somebody else who actually owns Cascadeur and uses it commercially, but you can't use that as an end run around the non-commercial license. And then there is a hobbyist version here, and this is also another area where Cascadeur A+ grade here. So at $8 a month for the indie version, as long as you make less than $100,000 per year, you have the ability to export now. So that's the big difference between these two. There used to be limitations on the number of frames. They got rid of a lot of that. So where this gets really awesome though, read this line right here. So this turns into a perpetual license after 1 year. So after you paid it for $8 a month for 12 months, so once you're at your, $96, you own it. So if you stop paying for it, you're not going to get updates anymore, but you can continue to use it commercially for the rest of time. So for under $100, that's a very reasonable license in my opinion. But I don't understand. Yeah, okay, so that's on an annual basis. So you're not paying $8 a month, you're paying the equivalent of $8 a month. Just something to be aware of with the pricing differences there. And then we have a pro license if you've got between 1 to 3 seat requirements. And then, of course, we have Teams license where it goes up from there. But again, the licenses are super fair, in my opinion. I like that it rolls over to a perpetual license. There's just so many things to like about Cascadeur, to be honest. Again, it's a tool that uses machine learning or AI to actually help artists, not replace them. It's a tool that does what it actually advertises on the tin, and it's a tool available on most major platforms. And finally, it is a tool with a very reasonable licensing scheme, in my humble opinion. And again, it is also a tool that just got quite a bit better, at least in my humble opinion. So what do you think of Cascadeur, and what do you think of the new in-betweening functionality? I think that is definitely the marquee new feature here, although the support for GLB could definitely be useful for some people. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Also, let me know what you think of their licensing schemes and all that. Do you think it's as fair as I do, or do you think I'm overreacting? Let me know these things. Comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.